Friends, this is a compendium of what you need to know and do to effectively navigate the new Nigerian Tax Act from January 2026. As we move into January 2026, many people are deeply worried and panicky about the effect and impact of the new Nigerian Tax Act on their lives and their businesses. Frankly, this anxiety is not misplaced because many people can't forecast what 2026 tax year will throw at them. But here is the good news. Tax Corp says, worry no more and live your normal life. Why? A minute after midnight on 31st December 1999, time changed from 1999 to 2000, and nothing monumental or severe happened. Consequently, we're still here. So January 1, 2026 will come and go, and nothing monumental or severe will happen. And we shall still be here. So please, live your normal life. There is no shaking. Task Corp is here for you. But friend, it is very important to be well prepared and be ready. Why? Because ignorance of the law, they say, is not an excuse. Consequently, you have to be well prepared and be ready for the full implementation of the new Nigerian Tax Act from January 1, 2026. Why? The key difference between the old tax system and the new tax system lies not so much in the provisions of the new Tax Act, but in implementation. Going forward, there will be strict implementation of the new Nigerian Tax Act. Hitherto, tax authorities find it cumbersome, complex, difficult, and very expensive to comprehensively and efficiently administer and implement the Tax Act, but not anymore. Today, with the power of technology and more statutory powers, the tax authorities are in stronger and better positions to administer and implement the Tax Act well. Indeed, the tax authorities are now more knowledgeable, more digitalized, more integrated, more networked, more modern, more fluid, and can easily get more information about you and your business transactions with or without your knowledge, even down to your disclosed and undisclosed transactions, including banking transactions and bank statements. But please, before we go on, let's quickly intimate you with some wahalas and goodies of NTAs. Some wahalas of the new Nigerian Tax Act. When you make a vatable supply, you must collect VAT. Failure to collect VAT, tax authority will ask you to pay the amount of VAT not collected plus administrative penalty of 40% plus penalty of 10% or more plus interest at commercial bank rate calculated on compound basis. When money is leaving you, that is what you call payments, right? You must withhold tax. If you fail to withhold tax, tax authority will ask you to pay the tax which you fail to withhold, plus penalty of 10% or more, plus interest at commercial bank rate calculated on compound basis. If you fail to pay VAT on an expense that is vatable, whether or not the supplier charge you, tax authority will not allow that expense as deductible expense. If you fail to pay a tax that the tax authority has declared final and conclusive, ladies and gentlemen, the tax authority can sell your business and all its assets except immovable property to pay the tax, and this is even without a court order. If you are a taxable person and you don't have a tax ID, you cannot do business with anybody, including government and their NDAs. Again, if you are a taxable person and you don't have a tax ID, you cannot do business with any financial institution, open or operate accounts with banks, insurance companies, fintech companies, stock agent companies. Also, if you're a taxable person and you don't have a tax ID, you cannot own a household, no C of O. You can't own a gun. You can't obtain an import license, export or trade license. Anybody that does business with you is in trouble if you don't have tax ID because the person will pay a penalty of 5 million naira. Similarly, if you do business with a person who does not have a tax ID, you will pay a penalty of 5 million naira. If you fail to file returns for say 3 years, you will pay penalty of 18.3 million or more and all that. Now, it's not all bad news. You have some goodies and hampers of NTA. So let's just mention a little. Individuals who earn national minimum wage or less pay no tax. Whatever you earn, the first 800,000 of your charitable income is tax-free. Small companies of annual turnover of 50 million and below and fixed assets of 250 million and below pay no company tax. Similarly, small companies of annual turnover of 50 million and below and 250 million assets uh, don't pay development levy. Small business of annual turnover 100 million and less than 250 million fixed assets, you have nothing to do with VAT, no VAT wahala. And what we mean by no VAT wahala? You don't charge VAT, you don't collect VAT, you don't pay VAT, you don't remit VAT. Nothing concerns you with VAT. Incomes from federal and state government bonds are tax exempt, so you can invest there. All expenses that meet the deductibility criteria are allowed as deductions. So you have to know the deductibility criteria. From 2026, you can deduct input VAT on the property, plant, and equipment, and expenses from your output VAT, and many more. So, what do you do to navigate NTAs to your advantage and benefit in 2026 and beyond? Simple. Prepare and be ready for January 2026 and life thereafter. So how do you optimize your tax and be a good citizen? But please note, when we say optimize your tax, we mean get the best out of the tax act so that you can pay no tax where possible, pay less tax, or pay fair tax. Remember, tax evasion is criminal, so please don't indulge in that. So how do you prepare? How do you get ready and optimize your tax? This is exactly why NTC is here. Now, what is NTC? NTC is the Nigerian Tax Compass, which comprehensively and meticulously dissected, explained, and illustrated the entire new Nigerian Tax Act into 20 interdependent compasses. And here is the meat here. Each compass provides you with all that you need to know about each tax subject, all in one compass, so that you will not need to oscillate or swing between tax charters or acts, searching for one relevant tax provision or the other. Just know what you want and select from the NTA menu. So, what exactly are these new Nigerian Tax Act? People are asking. Did they come from Mars? Did they come from space? Or where are they UFOs, unidentified flying objects? So what exactly are they, my dear friend? Let me tell you. They are here with us. They came from us. Indeed, they are referred to as Futu. You know what Futu means? Futu means from us to us. So essentially, the new Nigerian Tax Act 2025, hereinafter referred to as the NTA 2025, are the Tax Act which were enacted by the National Assembly of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on 11th June 2025 and signed into law by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GSFR, on 26 June 2025. Please note that they are called Nigeria Tax Act, not Nigerian Tax Act. So when will the new Nigerian Tax Act commence? According to the relevant section of the Acts, such as Section 203 of NTA 2025, the new Nigerian Tax Act will come into effect on January 1st, 2026. So, what are these new Nigerian Tax Acts? First, you have Nigerian Tax Act, shortened as NTA. The second one is Nigerian Tax Administration Act, shortened as NTAA. The third one is Nigerian Revenue Service Establishment Act, shortened as NRSEA. And the last one, the fourth one, is Joint Revenue Board Establishment Act, shortened as JRBEA. So, what exactly are the functions, the roles, the statutory roles of this Tax Act we provide here? NTA provides the key legislation for taxation of persons in Nigeria. NTAA provides the key legislation for the administration of taxation of persons in Nigeria, providing procedural backup to NTA. NRSEA empowers Nigeria Revenue Service with the major authority and responsibility for taxation in Nigeria. For instance, customs will no longer collect duties, so customs can no longer collect import duties, custom duties, excise duties. That is what Nigeria Revenue Service will now be collecting. The former Federal Land Revenue Service. And lastly, JRBEA provides a viable platform for coordination of taxation in Nigeria among the various taxing authorities, federal, state, and local governments. So, what are the statutory objectives of the new Nigerian Tax Act according to the Act? So, there are just four of them, and they are to provide a unified fiscal legislation governing taxation in Nigeria, to provide uniform procedures for a consistent and efficient administration of tax laws, to facilitate tax compliance by taxpayers, to make it very simple for taxpayers to comply, to optimize tax revenue, to pull in more money for government. So these are the four statutory objectives. Beside these four statutory objectives, you have the derivative objectives, which include to lessen the burden of tax on low-income earners and the poor, to simplify tax system for easy understanding and compliance by taxpayers, to stimulate businesses and attract investment through better program systems and incentives, to consolidate tax laws into fewer laws while eliminating multiplicity of tax acts, simplify and smoothen tax administration for efficiency and effectiveness, update and modernize Nigerian tax systems in line with international standards, make the tax system truly progressive and equitable, taxing higher income earners than low income earners, repeal, revoke, and amend outdated, useless, and low impact tax laws, remove ambiguous, confusing, and conflicting tax provisions and acts, promote better and equitable distribution of our commonwealth in the Nigerian society. So what's the coverage of these NTAs who are involved? NTAs repeat so many standalone tax acts, updated, modernized, unified, and consolidated the tax acts. Consequently, NTAs apply to every person deemed to be a resident in Nigeria, deemed to be resident in Nigeria for tax purposes, and cover the following tax subjects: employees, that include workers, staff, salary, and wage earners; self-employed individuals, sole traders, businessmen, women; partnerships, unincorporated businesses such as business and joint ventures; families, trusts, estates, settlements; non-governmental organizations, NGOs; limited liability companies, public limited liability companies, PLCs; specialized companies, petroleum, shipping, airline, quoted companies, and so on. So, what's the application of the new Nigerian Tax Act? The new Nigerian Tax Act apply to every person required to comply with any provision of the tax act, whether personally or on behalf of another person. These persons include persons who earn or derive income from Nigeria and those who do not, but are required by a provision of the act to comply with the Nigerian Tax Act. That is why you need to know the tax act well, or you contact TASCOM. What are the various jurisdictions of the new Nigerian Tax Act? Being that Nigeria is a federation, the new Nigerian Revenue Service, which replaces the Federal Land Revenue Service from January 1, 2026, is responsible for the taxation of companies, members of the armed forces, members of foreign service, non-resident taxable persons, while state internal revenue service, including the Federal Capital Internal Revenue Service, have jurisdiction over taxable individuals who are deemed resident in their domain. So, why all this noise and hula baloo about January 26? So, with this certification, it is important to know that NTS will commence on January 1, 2026. And you know what? They always tell you, ignorance of the law is not an excuse. So, if you commit, you have committed, and you have to bear the consequences. But if you comply, you have complied, and you can go home and drink coffee or lick honey. So, what do you do with respect to the coming almighty 2026? Simply, please, be prepared and be ready. That's what we are asking you to do. How will NTA affect you from January 2026? Please listen very carefully, because it may affect you lightly, it may affect you heavily, or it may not even affect you. So just listen. Please know that NTAs affect only taxable persons. Only taxable persons. Meaning, if you are not a taxable person, NTAs will not affect you. you just bow and go and sin no more. But you just have to be very careful because if NTA do not affect you today or on January 1, 2020, when it will commence, it may affect you a day after. And again, this is why you have to know your tax very well, the NTAs very well, or you consult your tax advisor or consult tax corp. Even when you are a taxable person, NTAs affect you on stratified levels. They are level, and these levels are determined by your taxability. So why? So who is a taxable person? A taxable person is a person who earns income, derives income, or does business in Nigeria. Consequently, if you do not earn income or derive income from Nigeria or do business in Nigeria, you are not a customer of NTAs. NTA will not affect you. You are free. For instance, a student who receives money only from their parents, brothers, sisters, uncles, and other sponsors of their education does not earn income, does not do business in Nigeria. Consequently, they are not a taxable person and thereby not affected by NTAs. Similarly, a pensioner who whose only source of income is their pension is not significantly affected by NTA because the pension income is exempt from tax. But Ahmed Musa, Jejo Okocha, Waide Akoni, who works in a private company or Federal Ministry of Sport as a salary earner, is fully affected by NTA. They have to pay tax on their incomes. Similarly, Olu Badamosi, Kano Okoro, Abubakar Bello, who sells cocoa, motor spare parts, or forex, respectively, in their locations, are significantly affected by NTS. Lastly, Akume and Sons Enterprises, Remi Nigeria Limited, and Asian Furniture International Limited are good customers of NTS. So, how do you prepare? Get ready and comply with NTS. Please just follow this, what we tell you now. Do just these 10 things and you will be free. First, proactively, boldly, intelligently, and creatively deal with NTAs. Second, get yourself sufficient knowledge of the provisions of the Tax Act, not just your tax advisor or tax corp. You also need to get that. Third, be very clear of how the tax has applied to you because at the end of the day, it may not apply to you. Fourth, structure yourself, your responses, and your systems creatively. Fifth, begin to comply. Don't wait for the tax authority to remind you or push you. Sixth, take advantage of all the tax planning incentives, strategies, and tips provided by both the Tax Act and Tax Corp. Seventh, document all documentable. Obtain documentary evidence for all your transactions. Eighth, keep comprehensive and accurate records. Ninth, be creative, be ethical, but please avoid being unethical or evading. Tenth, if you have any questions or desire any clarification, please contact Tasco. All right. Um, just like we mentioned earlier of the wahalas of NTA, we still give you few here so that you can know the importance of you being prepared and getting ready. One of the problems you have with NTA is that tax authorities are now highly digitalized, networked, connected, and empowered. They can see and unsee. Tax authorities have easy access to all your bank accounts, BVN, and NIN. NTAs mandate banks to submit information on your monthly transactions quarterly. Every taxable person must register with relevant tax authority, whether you're exempt or not, you must register. Every taxable person must obtain a tax ID. But if you're not a taxable person, like we said before, like a student, please, you do not need a tax ID. A single transaction with an unregistered taxable person attracts penalty of 5 million. Whether exempted or not, every taxable person must file returns for tax periodically. Failure to comply with NTAs can attract both administrative penalties or imprisonment. You go to jail. Penalties for failure to comply with NTAs are calculated on compound basis and many more. So, what is this NTC you have been hearing? NTC means the Nigerian Tax Compass, which is a series of tax education materials and strategies developed by Tax Corp, a specialist tax services company, for the purpose of providing local and international taxable persons, practitioners, administrators, scholars, and students all they need to know about taxation in Nigeria, particularly the recently enacted four principal acts in Nigeria. NTC comprehensively and meticulously dissects, articulates, elucidates, and illustrates the provisions and practice of the Nigerian Tax Act with a view to making understanding, compliance, and practice of taxation in Nigeria very simple, seamless, and easy for local and international taxable persons, professional administrators, scholars, and students. Very easy for you. So, NTC is structured in a way that things will be easy for you. It is structured into 20 interdependent compasses. And here is the meat. Each compass comprehensively brings together all that you need to know about each tax subject so that you will not need to oscillate, swing, move from one chapter or the other looking for one relevant provision or the other. Everything that you need is in one compass, comprehensively and deeply dissected for you, explained and illustrated for you, so that you just take a walk in the park, like the British person will say. How many compasses do we have as in NTC? NTC is structured and organized into 20 interdependent compasses. Each compass deals with a tax subject or a couple of tax subjects. Please have fun. So what's the overall objective of this NTC? The overall objective of NTC is to provide you with all that you need to know about the entities so that you can hugely optimize the various beneficial provisions in the Act. Ours is to assist you with a deep and clear direction, articulation, and illustration so that you can leverage on the provisions of the Tax Act and our expertise to reduce your tax and pay only a fair tax. So, what's the overall structure of NTC? NTC is structured into 20 interdependent compasses, and each compass is structured and organized to provide you all that you need to know about each tax subject. Consequently, everything that you need to know or have to be beneficially completed and accurately deal with the tax subject have been all plucked from wherever they are in all the locations and assembled for you in one compass, explained for you, illustrated for you, so that you can have things easy. How will NTC help you? That's what you want to know. Just be clear on what you want. Be clear on the particular subject, tax subject which you wish to address and select it from the list of 20 compasses. Then read through, get what you want, and apply. That's all. It is that easy. However, should you have issues, please do not hesitate to contact Task Corp. And even if you don't have any issue, please contact Task Corp as well, as we would like to hear from you to know how you are doing, to know how Task NTC is assisting you, and so that we can together improve NTC for our collective good. Now, we'll provide you here with some tax strategies that you can employ from January 2026 to optimize your tax. The first thing we always emphasize is this: please know your tax laws well, or consult your tax consultant, or you consult Tax Corp. Be creative about your choice of business vehicle. So you may want to be a sole trader, you may want to be a limited liability company, business name, but you have to know the tax implications. Tax Corp can help you with that. Creatively structure your business. Keep a comprehensive register of tax compliances and timeline. Timely register with relevant tax authorities and obtain your tax ID. Corporatize your business. Don't let your business lose or be without a strong fund. Separate your business from your personal transactions. Never mix them up, including your bank account. So, fully harness the deductibility principle and strategy. Very key. You can save much money. Strategically invest in tax-exempt assets to create tax-exempt incomes. Proactively harness and maximize your tax incentives. There are so many. Charge all chargeables, collect all collectibles, pay all payables, and remit all remittable, and be free. Adequately document all your transactions. Collect invoices and receipts for everything. When you buy fuel, please collect receipt. Keep adequate records for all your transactions. If you find it problematic or difficult to do, contact Task Corp. File returns timely, adequately, and accurately. Let me shock you. A single failure to file can cost you as much as 18 million just for not filing. Avoid offenses and penalties. They can be huge, or they can be devastating. And there are so many other premium tax planning strategies which you can get from Tax Corp. So, most importantly, please contact and consult Tax Corp, and your life shall never remain the same. Here we have the list of the 20 interdependent compasses that you can access to get all that you need to be to navigate the tax new Nigerian Tax Act and be free. Just check the 20 compasses and select. You have compendium on VAT, withholding tax, taxation of individual, taxation of companies, and so many. I'll not. You can go through that. So, what is Tax Corp really? Tax Corp is a Nigerian tax consulting firm which specializes in tax matters. Prince Chidi, FCA, FCTA, MBA, is the principal consultant. Prince Chidi is a licensed fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria and Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria. Tax Corp and Prince Chidi have provided tax services to numerous individuals and corporate bodies in both the public and private sectors, locally and internationally, since 1990. That's over 3 decades now. The beneficiaries include the Federal Land Revenue Service, the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission, state revenue services like Lagos State, Abia State, and so many, Federal Capital Territory, Internet Revenue Service, and many private companies and individuals which we cannot mention here. So the details of how you can contact Tax Corp to know more about the new Nigerian Tax Act, Nigerian Tax Compass, and how Tax Corp can help you is here. So you can access all that through the channels. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you so much. And please don't be afraid. Just live your normal life. And if you have any issue, contact Task Force. Thank you.